Sandro, ¿qué tal?
Harjeev, Kandhari, thank you for coming. Thank you, Harjeev, for taking the time to be with us today. We know that you are only in Madrid for the day, and we do appreciate a lot that you have taken a few minutes to sit with us. I know that your flight back is in 2 hours, which is why we're meeting near the airport. So we will make this very quickly, and we really appreciate you sitting with us to launch our new series of conversations with the most important CEOs in the industry. It's called Tips from the Top.
Not at all, Sandro. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for thinking of me for your new series. I love the name Tips from the Top, but I'm sure there are many better people who really are at the top to offer you this advice.
So let's get started. Your new business motto is all about disruptive thinking. It sounds great, and we see you already disrupting the industry with Cartisan, which really is a world-first subscription service for the industry. What I really wonder, though, is what advice could you give to the people in traditional businesses that are worried about the disruption in their own industries?
So if your business hasn't been disrupted by innovators already, the chances are it soon will be. Your instinct will be to defend your business, attack your disruptor, or both. But tackling an attacker head-on will rarely succeed. You need a smarter strategy. To outflank your disruptor, you need to take a different path. Now, Sandro, think of it this way. Your established business is playing the first game. The disruptor is playing the second game. So if you want to survive and flourish, you need to play a third game, not just fire cannonballs at them and hope they retreat. So let me give you an example of the watch industry, for example. In the early 1960s, if you wanted a quality watch, you bought a Swiss one. The Swiss really dominated the watchmaking industry. Come the 1970s, enter Seiko, Timex, clutch of Japanese watchmakers who use quartz technology to offer functions, features, and all at a much lower price. The Swiss watchmakers had their market share plummet from 48% of global production in 1965 to 15% in 1980. So, disruptors, the Japanese, they adopted the cardinal rule of any successful attack. Offered something different, lower prices, more features, greater functionality. Now at this point, the Swiss could have responded by firing cannonballs, tackling it head-on. They could have offered cheaper, more modern watches in an attempt to draw back the previously loyal customers from the Japanese. But they took a different approach. They fought back with their own completely different value proposition, style and fashion. They really reinvented the watch as a fashion item. They reasoned that consumers could buy a new watch with a distinctive look. The strategy really succeeded. The product, the Swatch, became the most popular watch in the world at one point. And I'm guessing this is what some of my colleagues at INSEAD probably call the blue ocean strategy or some form of.
So how would you suggest that people in our industry develop and play this third game?
So Sandro, first you really have to have courage, agility and patience. Doing something totally new takes immense courage. You need to be agile, you need to actually get up and do something. Don't spend your time tied up in micro-analysis of hypothetical outcomes, this common paralysis by analysis. And frankly, the patience is required because once you're doing it, you have to keep doing it. Many companies try a new idea for 2 to 3 years, they ditch it. But if you come up with something radically different, it will take time. You need to keep going, you need to keep executing. Secondly, you really need to act like a startup. Don't defend, attack. Now, succeed as a new entrant, you just don't imitate the companies that are already in the market. You need to break the rules. You need to attack them by breaking the rules. To play this third game that I talked about, you need fresh thinking. Now, just forget the core business, right? If you're British Airways, you're trying to compete with EasyJet, don't think like an airline business. Think like a startup. It's not going to guarantee success, but it'll provide the escape from that tired mental model of this, typical established business thinking. So for example, when we started Cartisan, we didn't think like another tire company. We thought like a digital startup. We built a completely new value chain around what we were doing, and we thought what the customer wanted, not what the competition was doing, right? And finally, the most important thing is just have to think and be positive. Fear is the worst motivator. It has a short-term effect in bringing about change, but over time, fear dissipates, and people go back to their old habits. You need to give people something to hope for, an emotionally positive message if you want enduring results. Galvanize your people by giving them something positive to aim for, not something negative to avoid. So again, I use cars as an example. One of my motivations of starting the business was genuinely fear that our current business model would die. But when I sat down with our people and the Zenises family, we sat down and said, listen, we're going to completely disrupt the way tires are sold. We're going to challenge the core beliefs in the tire industry that all tires have to be bought. We changed the narrative from tires as a product to tires as a service. And that, for the whole team, for me, for that matter as well, was so much more motivating than, oh, if you don't change, you die. You know, you have to change the conversation. It's simple, but really effective.
Thank you for this, and I will let you go now, as we don't want you to miss your flight. So please, have a safe flight back to Dubai.
Many thanks for your time, Sandro, and good luck with this new series. Gracias.